Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news, but it's also about how this man, Raphael Varane, will make Manchester United title contenders. I'm going to make that statement today because I believe that when you buy a player of that quality, you've got to be hitting a title race until deep April. So we will be using this screen here to talk about what Varane brings to the team and the difference it will mean compared to the last couple of years under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But let me start off by here. Yes, the thumbnail is absolutely lit. Thanks to the Draughty Devil for that. It's absolutely brilliant. And I am going to start off by making that statement. I believe that expectations of this football club have been lowered for too long. Manchester United are the Juventus of England, with a Bayern Munich of England, with a Barcelona and Real Madrid of England, with a Celtic of England, with a PSG of England. We should be going for titles every year. And for some reason, the Glazers, we have allowed ourselves over the last 8 years to become this club that goes, oh, don't say we're title contenders, you'll jinx it. Fourth place is good enough. And I understand that. I understand that that's the expectations these money grabbers at the top have created. They want all the money but not to spend it. They want, fourth place makes them happy. But Manchester United should be fighting for titles. And I think the great thing about Varane and Sancho as well, and hopefully another signing, is that I look at that team this year and I think we should be challenging for a title, and I'll show why as well. Make sure you smash a like on the video. We're going to get into this. It's going to be very interactive. We're going to be looking at the tactics board as well, but I just want to say as well, there is some breaking news. Raphael Varane apparently will have to quarantine for 5 days, not 10, when he arrives in Manchester before he can train. The medical might happen. I mean, maybe the medical will happen before then. I don't know. That Keane miss. Yes, I am going to be playing my FIFA career mode at 3:30 today. I've dropped the link in the video description for Twitch. What a miss that was yesterday. But also, breaking news from Romano, talking about centre-backs. There was only ever a very, very thin chance of us getting Jules Koundé. He's apparently going to go to Chelsea. Good signing for Chelsea if they get Koundé. Chelsea and Man City. Man City looking at Grealish. Chelsea looking at Koundé. We're not going to have it all our own way. Chelsea and Man City, we're always going to start doing things, and it looks like they're about to start doing it. I like Koundé. Varane is better, but I did like the look of Koundé, and I'm not going to say Chelsea are not getting a good player then, and maybe in a couple of years he'll be better than Varane. I don't know, but I think we've made the right decision with Varane, and I do think Chelsea with that are good. I want to talk about the midfield situation and go through the players that we're looking at and what the situation is with those. About 6 players there. Also, we're going to talk about Marcus Rashford and his injury, but let's start off where I want to start, and which is, how do Manchester United win the league this season? How do we do it? How do we win the league this season? And have we got enough to win the league this season? And what I want to say is, Advath says, I couldn't care less about Chelsea. Like, first of all, let's just start off here. Now, that can be Fred or McTominay, but I think the most important thing that you will see with Varane is that when it was Lindelof and Maguire, we were basically doing this. We're pulling the back 4 back. We had Fred there, and of course it wasn't Pogba, it was normally McTominay. You got that back 6. We're scared of that ball over the top, so we play deeper with 2 people in front, and the ball over the top is, it's in the stands. The ball over the top is very difficult with McTominay and Fred there because of the height of McTominay, and also there's not much of a gap between the defenders and the centre-back. So the ball over the top doesn't matter, but you end up with this big chasm, the Grand Canyon, the mint with a hole, Bagel FC, massive hole in the midfield, so that when Fred and McTominay get it, they're struggling to get it into these people, and teams are set against us. What we're going to see with Varane in the team is a speedy centre-back. That means that the full-backs will move further forward, right? Okay, and Pogba and Fred can move forward, or it's McTominay, whatever. So we're going to move higher. We're going to definitely move higher because Ramos and Varane very used to being left on their own at the back, much like Rio and Vidic were. This ball over the top doesn't become a problem anymore because Varane's like, I'll eat that for dinner. He's quick enough to deal with it. We're not worried. Jamie Vardy, whatever. Varane's going to run with him. But also Varane's going to have the ball into feet. And he's going to be telling his fullbacks to push forward. He's going to tell his winger to get wide. He's going to look for the pass into Bruno, and he's going to have Pogba further ahead of him as well. We're going to move closer to our attackers because we've got Varane in the team, but we're not going to lose anything behind. We're not going to be scared of the ball in behind because Varane is fast. And Lindelof and Maguire were never quick enough, and they were always worried about that ball in behind. We're not going to be worried about that. We're going to play 10 yards further up the pitch. But what you get with Maguire is the ability to bring the ball out, which means Fred can push, means Pogba can push, Maguire can bring the ball out, Varane can bring the ball out. So it gets the team a lot higher. And if you're higher, it means these 4 up front are higher. And it means they're going to get the ball quicker. Of course, Pogba would want to be doing this. Now, this is the second thing I want to say. If you're going to play higher up the pitch and you've got 2 ball-playing centre-backs, Now, Lindelof was a ball-playing centre-back, but if he lost it coming out, he ain't got the speed to get back. If Varane loses it, and I think Varane's better on the ball anyway, he's strong and quick. He can't be knocked off the ball, and if he is knocked off the ball, he's quick enough to recover. So we've got, and not a lot of people are talking about this. This is why McTominay needs to be on the bench or Fred needs to be on the bench. We don't need 2 holding midfielders like we used to, because they're gonna block off Maguire and Varane, because both our centre backs now are very good. We've seen it with Maguire many times last season. He comes into these positions, he might get a shot off, he might play it there, but he's more than happy to do it. Varane's going to do it as well. He's going to move into those positions. Now, if you've got McFred in front of them, they're basically blocking them off. Get out of my way, McFred! I want to make a run in there. So you need 1 holding midfielder, because then that holding midfielder can drop in either side for whoever goes, but they're more than happy to be left on their own, whether it's Maguire and Fred or whether it's Varane and Fred. So we've got to go to 1 holding midfielder. There is no point in having 2 holding midfielders with Varane in the team, because we don't need to play deep and we don't need to block our centre-backs off, who are both very, very good. This will lead to our full-backs pushing forward, which Luke Shaw does a lot. Wan-Bissaka's got to learn the relationship with Sancho, but he's got to learn to go forward a lot, because Varane will be like, don't worry about it. I've got it sorted on that side. I have got Sancho in the number 7 shirt on here, sorry, but, minor detail. The most important thing with this team for Solskjaer is that this role becomes 1 person. Now, I actually think Fred does the role the best, because what I want in this role is tenacity and speed. Fred can do that all day. He's quicker, he's got a lower sense of gravity, he's more tenacious than McTominay. McTominay is probably marginally the better player on the ball, because he does that little pivot and passes it sideways. But to be honest with you, Fred, you want a holding midfielder here who can take the ball and dictate the play. I'd love a Jorginho or an Alan or someone like that. They don't need to be world beaters, just somebody who can do that. Take the ball from all angles and pass it forward. That's what we want him to do. Of course, Bruno's going to drop into these areas as well. So I'd prefer Fred over McTominay. However, the most important thing is that it's 1 player, because we don't need 2 players to do it. We just need 1 player to hold that midfield, because these 2 here are going to be the best 2 centre-backs in the Premier League, I think. And therefore, they're going to be 2 of the best centre-backs in the world. And they don't need babysitting by 2 holding midfielders. So you free up Pogba to be more box-to-box. You allow Bruno to play where he's playing, and we get Pogba in these spaces far more than when he has to just sit there. And Pogba said it himself last year. When I play for United, I'm sat deep. I don't get the licence to go forward like I do for France. With Manchester United, he's going to get that. And I just think with Fred, because these 2 can both play the ball anyway, this ball from here into here or here into here becomes less and less, because these 2 are like, we can play out, we can play out. What we want in this role is somebody who's just busy, tenacious and busy to win the ball back. Fred wins the ball back. He knows he can go back to Maguire and Varane and they'll play forward. He can go side, he can side. Fred's job is basically going to be running around these areas, just winning the ball back and playing it there. But of course, it might not be Fred. It might not be Fred who does that role. It might be somebody else. But this, to me, is why Manchester United have to fight for the title this year. You've got this lad on the right-hand side, Jadon Sancho, who's going to be putting balls into the box for Cavani. He's going to be linking up with Pogba and Bruno, hopefully. You've got Rashford, who's just very direct and, flair player, going to create things. You've got Luke Shaw's going to bomb on over there. But you've got this player here, Raphael Varane. He's going to make us play higher up the pitch. He's going to move the ball higher up the pitch. He's used to high tempos. He's used to playing against low blocks. He's used to being in a situation at Real Madrid for a decade where 90% of his games, he's playing against teams that have got a low block. He is going to teach Harry Maguire and Aaron Wan-Bissaka and his holding midfielders so much. He's going to be saying, we're pushing up. He's going to tell his fullback, get forward. He's going to say to Harry Maguire, our job is to defend and keep this back line. Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka, they've got to bomb forward. We've got to press that low block, and we've got to give too many options for that low blocks. We've got to move the ball quicker. And I think Raphael Varane is going to be so useful against the teams that we struggle against. The teams that are, the Burnleys, the teams like that we struggle against, because we've got to keep a clean sheet and score 1 goal. I think we're going to score 2 or 3 goals with Raphael Varane. And of course, another massive advantage with Varane is this. Oh, it's a free kick. It's a cross into the box. I've missed it. It's a goal. Varane, Maguire, organisation. Obviously, we've got a new set-piece delivery coach coming in, but corners, set pieces, crosses into the box, long hoofed balls in the last minute. Varane, Maguire, well organised. But most important of all, it's that high line. And I think, call me crazy, call me over-reacting. AJ Flores is really excited about set pieces this season. I'm expecting an improvement. And honestly, if Pogba goes, get Neves 35 million, Awar for 25 million and sell Pogba for 50, says Shravan. I'm going to talk about the midfield options in a minute. But the headline for this show really is just to say, I've been thinking about it since yesterday. For me, Manchester United are title contenders next year. That's not because I want to put pressure on anybody. That's because I'm a Manchester United fan and I want Manchester United to be back where they should be. And I believe when you buy Sancho, it's a massive step forward. But when you buy Raphael Varane, you change your team. Jadon Sancho will change us. He's a right-sided player who can play off the left, who's about intricate give and goes and creativity. That's something we haven't had off the right wing for a long, long time. And that is an improvement. But Varane changes the team in more ways than one. He makes us play a higher line. He makes us more competent defensively from set pieces. And also, I think something that people are really, really not noticing is a ball-playing centre-back. They are both ball-playing centre-backs now, which pushes your full-backs on and takes the pressure off your holding midfielder. Varane can carry. He can carry the ball all the way up here. He can also play the ball 40 yards forward to Sancho or Bruno or Pogba. He can hit it wide to Rashford over 50 yards like Lindelof can. He's quick, the line is quick, and he can carry the ball. And we know Maguire can carry the ball. This team is going on the front foot, whether Ollie wants it to or not. And I'm 100% sure Ollie does want it to go forward, and he does want to play it on the front foot. And I think maybe this is where the media are getting it wrong. I don't know we're definitely going to play one holding midfielder, but I think Varane coming into the team makes us have to play a holding midfielder because you can't play two. You can't play Varane and Maguire and then play two holding midfielders. It just won't get the best out of Varane. And if we get the best out of Varane, and you've got Sancho and Bruno and all the players we've got on that screen there, we are going to be title contenders. We can only be our own worst enemy. Inconsistency, bottling it, whatever the problems have been of the last few years. Because I look at that team and I think, you know what, we're going to win. And it's interesting, I haven't got Dean Henderson there and I've put De Gea in goal. Lindelof, Telles, McTominay, Van der Beek, Martial, Greenwood as your bench. That's with 7 subs. I think we might get 9 next year. Mata, Matic, Dan James, Ahmad, there's lots of other options there. So we've got lots and lots and lots of Manchester United to talk about. Few people talking about MUFC MPB tweets. I've seen it. I don't rate Dean Jones as a very good and credible outlet. So that's why I'm ignoring it. I'll wait for somebody credible to say it. I've said it to MUFC MPB before. I don't rate that outlet as being that credible. I'd probably put him as tier 3. If it comes true, then maybe you can move up to tier 2. But to me, a lot of what is said by that person never comes to pass or is regurgitation. So I'm not going to take that as breaking news that Manchester United are in for Ruben Neves. I'll wait for something better. If you want to jump on it, that's up to you. Love you, Mark. Have you heard Harry Maguire's song on YouTube, says Andrea. So that's why I think Manchester United are title contenders this year, because I think that team playing in that way is going to be a challenge for everybody. I think we can beat Man City. I think we can beat Chelsea, but they'll take care of themselves. Where we get to 80 points, 70 points, is by consistently beating Burnley home and away, Norwich home and away, Newcastle home and away, Wolves home and away. And to do that, you've got to play like that. You've got to push your line higher up. You've got to get people moving. You've got to get Rashford supporting Cavani. You've got to get Luke Shaw and the fullbacks bombing on. You've got to get Pogba further forward. You've got to get Bruno further forward. I want to see a lot of this. This is what I want to see a lot of next season. We used to see it a lot with United, with Rio and Vidic. I want to see Varane and Maguire on their own at the back with Fred or whoever the holding midfielder is, just helping them out. I don't want to see Wan-Bissaka. I don't want to see back sixes. I don't want to see that. I want to see United on the front foot. I want to see our fullbacks overlapping. I want to see us overwhelming, because this was the big thing when we had Rio and Vidic. Everyone was sent forward because they were like, Vidic was dominant in the air, Rio was quick. Both decent on the ball. Get forward. Leave it to us. Get forward. And I think in Varane and Maguire, that's what we're progressing towards. It's like everyone else go forward. We've got this at the back. Whether Fred's the CDM or not, look, that's the position I want us to change. I really want that position to change massively. But we'll see. We'll see. But I'm very excited about that. And I hope you enjoyed that little section there. Van der Beek for CDM. I think Fred suits the CDM at the moment. I'd go Fred over McTominay because of his tenacity and speed. A few people saying, please don't play Fred there. I love you, Mark. I've done that one, okay? Make sure you smash a like on the video, everyone, by the way. Let's talk about this midfield situation then, because a lot of people are talking about this tweet about Dean Jones, journalist, has said Manchester United. Ruben Neves wants to come to Manchester United. Ruben Neves wants to go to Arsenal. Ruben Neves wants to go to Manchester United. Ruben Neves wants to go to Chelsea. Ruben Neves wants to go to Juventus. Ruben Neves wants to leave Wolves. He's not there going Manchester United or nobody. He wants to leave. That's the truth. I was speaking to Romano about this a couple of weeks ago. Don't rule out Ruben Neves to Manchester United, but don't start getting excited about that person saying that he's coming to Manchester or he wants to come to Manchester United. There's nothing advanced with Ruben Neves at the moment, and he's an option. Where Manchester United with the midfielders are at the moment, and let's go through it. You can chuck some more at me, but I'll tell you where we're at. Will Varane have the impact Van Dijk had, says Shane? He could eclipse it. If he has the same, brilliant. But he could eclipse it. And one thing I didn't mention about Varane there, multiple Champions League winner, multiple La Liga winner, World Cup winner, leader. Not only this is the thing for me. Quick, good in the air, brilliant on the ball. What brilliant attributes we've got there. But on top of that, leader, and a little bit more leader. He's going to be telling Maguire what to do. They're going to be working together, and Maguire's going to be better for it. Wan-Bissaka's going to be better for it. Our team's going to be better for it. He ain't coming in here to just be a shrinking violet. He's going to be a big, big red rose who's prickly and experienced. Hi, Mark. Apparently, Phil Jones will be released from his contract on a free, and Newcastle are interested. This is JS Living. Good. One thing that's not been mentioned, I'm nearly touching you through the screen. One thing that's not been mentioned, everybody. The wages. I saw an Arsenal fan yesterday saying, United fans are going on about how we're spending 50 million on Ben White and they're spending 35 million on Varane. We're spending less because they're paying 400 grand a week to Varane. You might want to sit down there. We're not paying 400 grand a week to Varane. We're paying him between 200 and 250. He'll probably be on less than Martial and Rashford. He's not on 300k a week. He probably won't even be on 250k a week. I would imagine it's probably more like 225k a week. So we're not paying him his stupid wages at all. It's a massive bargain. I'm very grateful that we've got it. I'm not going to brag about it, even though I feel like it, because you know what? Varane's better than Koundé. He's better than Konate. He's better than Upamecano. He's better than Alaba. For me, he's better than all of those players. But Alaba's a good signing for Real Madrid. Konate's a good signing for Liverpool. Chelsea, if they get Koundé, is a very good signing. And I think Bayern Munich and Upamecano will be good. So what I say is, well done, everybody. You've all done some good business. We're very happy with our business, and it's a massive bargain as well. So I'm looking forward to it. So look, let's go through the midfield situation here. There is talk of Dean from MUFC MPB that Ruben Neves wants to go to Manchester United. I don't actually agree with that, but he's definitely an option for Manchester United. We can't dispute that. But I think if we just had a round up of where we are with Manchester United, this is very interesting, actually. This is coming from the Mirror via the United Journal. We've literally just done this as a video. Raphael's Varane signing is set to herald a more attacking approach from Solskjaer. With the pace, experience, intelligence and added security Varane will bring, Solskjaer is ready to play with one holding midfielder next season. It's almost like they've just watched the show and tweeted it out, isn't it? I mean, that's basically what we've just been talking about, and I'm very glad that we have done that and demonstrated what he brings to the team. Solskjaer favoured two defensive midfielders in McTominay and Fred last season, but with Varane, Solskjaer will feel sufficiently emboldened to change his system 100%. That will see Manchester United switch from a favoured 4-2-3-1 to a more adventurous 4-3-3. The problem is, who are we going to get into that position? As we talk about the midfield, who are we going to get in to this position here where Fred is? Because you know what? Pogba gets more licence, Bruno gets more licence, the fullbacks get more licence. This position's very important. I would love it to be Jorginho. I mean, look, I've always liked Jorginho at Chelsea. I don't think he's the world's best holding midfielder, but he'd be perfect for us because it's just about protecting your back four and then running the game. And we haven't really got anybody to do that. McTominay can't do it. Fred can't do it really. But what Fred can do is be busy. But we need somebody here. And it could be Ruben Neves. It could be Saul Niguez. It could be it could be a few players. Because I think what we're getting caught up with here is, if you had Ndidi here, everyone thinks we're winning the league. But in many ways, Ndidi even as a holding midfielder, he could be a little bit wrong for the role, because ultimately these two are going to be sending everyone forward. They can carry the ball forward themselves. They can pass the ball forward. So what you really want in there is somebody who's maybe not NDD defensive. Somebody who's just like, I will shield you, but I am going to be part of the attack as well. Because with these two players, Maguire and Varane, we don't also need an ultra defensive holding midfielder. I think we just need somebody who's happy to do the job and run the game, but also bombs forward themselves sometimes, and Pogba drops in. Or Varane and Maguire say, go, you go, we've got this covered. So I think Saul Niguez, Ruben Neves, Bissouma, Camavinga, Goretzka, maybe they're not specialist holding midfielders, but I certainly think they've got the attributes to do that role, because they're all ball players and they've all got good defensive attributes as well. So let's go through where we are with midfielders at the moment. With Ruben Neves, I think he wants to leave Wolves. I think he's a consideration for Manchester United, but I don't think there's anything anywhere near advanced. I think he would love to go to Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Spurs. I think he'd go to any of those clubs, and maybe he'll end up at Spurs because of the Nuno connection. But I think Ruben Neves is ready to move, and I think he's an option for United. I don't think he's an advanced option, and I think he's looking to go to a lot of other clubs as well. So Ruben Neves, for me, at the moment, option, and it is an option, but I think United need to sell to buy anyway, as we know. With Saul Niguez, very much linked to Barcelona at the moment. United, Liverpool are interested, £40 million for the deal, but they're waiting to see what's happening with Barcelona, because Saul Niguez seems to want to go to Barcelona. So we'll see what happens with Saul Niguez. Goretzka, probably using us for a new contract, and Real Madrid as well. 1 year left on his deal. Wants more money. Man United are willing to offer it. Real Madrid are willing to offer it in a year's time. Bayern Munich have got to offer up the contract for Goretzka, which I think they will, and I think he'll end up staying. So I don't think anything will happen with Goretzka. We've spoken about Saul Niguez. We've spoken about Ruben Neves. The next one, let's talk about Camavinga. Man United very much monitoring the situation. I think Camavinga will leave Rennes. I think he'll probably end up going to PSG if United keep Pogba for another year. But having said that, Manchester United are interested. There's talk that Camavinga wants to go to Spain. To do that, he's going to have to stay at Rennes for another year, in which case he will be free in a year's time and we won't get him. I think with Camavinga, things could move quickly with Manchester United, but at the moment, I wouldn't be any more than about 25%. I was 30% when we were linked to him. I'm now dropping a little bit. It just seems to have gone a little bit quiet. Hi Mark, isn't Woodward leaving this season or not? Says Alan. Yeah, he's meant to be going at Christmas. Ashling, thank you very much for the super chat, and Alison's TV channel. Thank you very much. Make sure you subscribe and smash a like on the video if you're watching, by the way. Which leaves the final option as Bissouma. Now, in relation to Bissouma, Manchester United are not linked to Bissouma. Also got to talk about Declan Rice. But Manchester United are not linked to Bissouma. Bissouma is a player that I think us as fans... I will be back, I'm still here. I think Bissouma is a player that us as fans would like. Now, for me, going back to what I was just talking about there, Bissouma, in this role here, would be bloody perfect. Because I don't think it needs to be a specialist holding midfielder when you've got Varane and Maguire behind you. It just needs to be somebody who's tenacious and good on the ball. Now, if you've ever watched Brighton play, Bissouma can get the ball into him with his back to somebody and instantly knock it right or left. He can also hold the ball, spin and turn. When he's facing things, he can hit a 20-yard pass, he can hit a 40-yard pass, he can carry the ball, he's very energetic. I think Bissouma would be a very, very good and wise player to bring into that position. Yes, he's not really a specialist CDM, but he can do that role at Manchester United. But we're not linked to him. Which therefore leaves Declan Rice, which we know Declan Rice can do that role. Of course he can. Bissouma we're not in for. Goretzka I think is going to sign a new contract. Neves, let's wait and see. Saul Niguez, let's wait and see. Camavinga, let's wait and see. Definitely considerations, all three, but I'm not feeling strongly about anything. Declan Rice, too expensive. Too expensive, Declan Rice. Way too expensive for Manchester United. Yes, we could offload Lingard. Of course we do. But, of course we can. But I think Manchester United would like Declan Rice. And I think Declan Rice could do that job really well. I think it's for me, I think it's the progression of Declan Rice. I think Manchester United's perfect for him. You stick him in that role. He got a good relationship with Maguire and Shaw already from his England days. He gets to run the midfield at Manchester United, but he also gets to do what he did in the last few minutes for England against Italy, which is drive forward. before he was taken off. And he gets to run the midfield as well. So I think he'd be very, very good. But I just think he's got his heart set on Chelsea, and West Ham have got their heart set on ripping everybody off. And I think, therefore, that makes it a very, very difficult decision, a very, very difficult deal for Manchester United to do. And I don't think that we will do it because of that. Koundé could be an excellent deal as he can play centre-back, CDM and right-back. Plus he's younger and can take over centre-back in the future, says Z. It's a good deal for Chelsea. I'm not going to deny it. It's a good deal for Chelsea. You know, sometimes I think fans get very bitter. I mean, I don't think Ben White's a bad deal for Arsenal. I just think you're overpaying for him. But, you know, a Brighton centre-back with promise, who's just been called up to the England squad, goes and plays for a mid-table side. I think it's progression for everybody. And maybe he's the player with no European football, because remember, he's going to get all week off. He can go down to London. He can get down there, go on the London Eye a couple of times. Thursdays down the Natural History Museum. There's no midweek football for Arsenal. So, you know, if they can build a team and Arteta's given the time, maybe they can fight for 6th, maybe 5th. I mean, they're not going to get top 4 this year. I'd build a statue of Ben White and Arteta and every other Arsenal player if they can get top 4. And that's not being arrogant. It's the same for Spurs, and I think it's the same for Leicester and Everton and anybody else. How are you going to break into the top 4? Liverpool are back. Man City are going to be strong. Chelsea are going to be strong. And you know, look at United. I mean, look, what I will say is, if Ollie doesn't get top 4 with that team, he got to go. He's got to go. He's got to go. I expect a title race this year. I don't think, in fact, you know what? I'm going to say it right here, right now. Yes, we need a holding midfielder, and I think we'll get a holding midfielder. But even without it, that team's got to fight for the title. You can't have Varane and Maguire, Sancho, Bruno, Rashford, Cavani, Pogba, and not challenge for a title. You might struggle against Liverpool and Man City and Chelsea, but the rest of the games you should be winning them home and away. And I know that sounds difficult, but that's the challenge. And United should be doing that. And the only reason we won't do that is if we get it tactically wrong. And if we get it tactically wrong, you've got to look at the coaches. I'm behind Ollie. I think he's going to get us in a title race this year. That's what I am expecting. I'm not saying we're winning the title. Number 21 would be a dream, an absolute dream. I've seen United win the title lots of times, but we've never seen it in the days of, you know, fan channels, really. And certainly not in the relation to United stand. Be a bloody absolute fantastic, absolutely incredible, love it. But I expect it. And I think our expectations have been lowered for too long. I expect Manchester United to be in a title race in April. And if we're nowhere near it, then, you know, Ollie's got to have a long, hard look at himself, and so has the board. Mark, I just found out that Maguire transfer fee from Leicester was not paid in instalments like Sancho or other signings. They received 80 million up front. Yeah, Cho, we got absolutely bent over there by Leicester. To be honest with you, we got absolutely bent over. They really, really did do that. Someone clipped what he said. What? That I think Manchester United need to be in a title race. And that, I mean, am I the only one? Am I blind or something? Like, do you not think that team should be fighting for the title? I didn't say win it. And yeah, Fred or McTominay in that holding role is a problem. But if you take Fred out and you bring in a Basuma or a Declan Rice or a Saul Niguez or somebody who's very good in the role, that's a title-winning team, title-contending team. I'm not taking anything away from Chelsea, Liverpool or Man City. But top 4 should be nailed on. If you're a Chelsea fan, a Man City fan, a Liverpool fan, a United fan, nobody should be entering that top 4 party. It's a closed shop. It's a square with no doors. There is no way you're getting into this 4-sided shape. We're busting the shapes in the top 4 and no one's coming in. But I think some of you struggle with this. I really do think some of you struggle with this, which is why I did the video. 1, to show you what Varane brings to the team and how we have to change and will change. 2, to show you that expectations within this fan base has dropped to levels it never should have dropped from. And I was guilty about it. Probably 2 years ago, I was saying the same thing. Why have we I'm never going to let my... I remember doing it 2 years ago. I said, I'm never going to let my expectations of this club and standards drop. We should be challenging for the title every year. And then last year I said I don't think we'll get top 4. And they'd won. The Glazers had won. They'd ground me down. When I say we're not going to get top 4, that means my expectations have dropped way lower than they should have done. That never should have been allowed to happen. As I said, we are the Bayern Munich of England. We are the Juventus of England. We are the Barcelona of England. We should be challenging for a title every year, and we've not done it since coming up for 10 years. This year needs to be the start of that. We need to challenge for a title. I never expected United to win a title every year. Although I probably did, to tell a lie. But we should be expecting to challenge for a title every year. That's what we should be looking to do. And I think this is what it's all about. Title or nothing is always my expectation, says George. And that team's got to go and deliver. Would I sit here now and say we're going to win the league? God, no. No. Because we've bottled the Europa League. We've bottled the Europa League twice. We bottled the semi-final. You know, we do lack that winning mentality. But I think someone like Varane coming in, Cavani's already here, Bruno, we're starting to get these winning mentalities. And people say, well, what's Bruno won? But he's got the mentality to do it. You know he has. And I think that, I think De Gea's got the winning mentality as well. All right, we missed a penalty. He got us in the final. If we don't challenge, then we have stagnated, and that is unacceptable with this target invested. The only progression is to challenge, says David Swanborough. As I said last night, I think it's massively exciting for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He does have to deliver. Of course he does. But on the other hand, the job is harder, even though it's easier, because you look at those players there, and I think that, I'd fancy managing that team. I'm sure you would as well, especially if you get a holding midfielder in. But the margin for error is far, far bigger, because far smaller. Like, you're not in the balance of Ollie, the scales, Ollie in, Ollie out, Ollie in. It's always like that. I think at the moment, probably Ollie in's going up a little bit. But if you don't play good football and you start dropping points with that team, very quickly. There are people who are very Ollie in, who I've spoken to and have said, I'm Ollie in, I'm not convinced. And I think there's a lot of fans like that. And when you've got squads and players like that, and then you start playing shit football, it will expose him. That's why I think that won't happen. I think he's fully aware that, last season, when I didn't get Sancho, I didn't get a centre-back. This season, you did get Sancho, you did get a centre-back. All right, he's got to get a holding midfielder, and if he doesn't, people will say, well, but it's not enough of an excuse. It's not enough of an excuse. He's got to deliver. And, somebody said to me the other day, let me just read these super chats. Realistically, do you think Ollie will field this 11 next season? Also, personally, I'd start Martial Greenwood over Rashford. He needs to go for the op. I'm just going to talk about that, actually, Julian, We should be in for William. Looks perfect for our system. Barrios, says Jimmy M. And Mark, Pogba's situation is getting me worn out. If he doesn't want to stay at United, I think it's time to part ways. I'd love to see him at United, says Alison's TV channel. Yeah, I think he'll decide himself, Paul Pogba. If he wants to go, we let him go. But hopefully, I think he's going to stay for another year. It's got Lampard written all over it, says Akshat. But I embrace that. I look forward to that, because I think when you see the team that we can put out now, he's either going to have to deliver or he's not going to deliver. And if he doesn't deliver, I had an Ollie Outer saying to me the other day, I'm gutted we've got Varane and Sancho, because it will just paper the cracks of Solskjaer and he'll get away with it even more. And I said, but it doesn't paper the cracks though, does it? We play probably 50, 60 games next year. That's 50, 60 watch-alongs. That's 50, 60 match reactions, previews, fan forums, all the chat that we have on this channel. Do you think that after 4 or 5 games, if we're playing bad football, grinding it out, people are going to go, but it's fine because we're winning? They'll be going, we should be doing more with this team. We're not coached properly. So I don't think he can fail with that team, but I think he can do himself damage. I think if we're grinding results out, not breaking down low blocks, still conceding crappy goals, there's too many good players for that to be happening unless it's down to coaching. So massive, massive pressure on Solskjaer, and it'll flip very quickly to Ollie out if we don't start doing the right things. Flipping it back the other way, I think it's going to be a positive start. I can see us beating teams 2-3-0 quite regularly next season. I can see us playing some good football next season. I can see us challenging for top spot for quite a lot of the season. Call me over positive, call me naive, but I can see that happening. On Rashford, apparently the decision on his shoulder injury is going to be made in the next couple of days because he's coming back from holiday. Because obviously, I think Shaw and Maguire and everybody are back in training on Monday. So Rashford decision is going to be made very, very soon. You know my stance on this. Why not have the operation? My only thing is, will Rashford do what he did last season? Will he do what he did in the Euros? You know, the innocence of youth, the desire to put the United shirt on and play football, the excitement around the club with Varane and Sancho. It's not a nice situation for Rashford, you know. The last thing he did on a football pitch was miss a penalty. And now there's a lot of buzz around United and he's meant to go and have an operation and miss the first 2 months. He will desperately want to play. He might come back and go, I'm feeling good. My shoulder feels all right. Let's just get on with it. But the problem with that is there are fans in this fan base, Marcus, who don't rate you. They don't. And any bad game you have or any bad pass, they're going to be on your back. And then you're going to get people like Henry Winter coming out saying he's carrying an injury, he's doing a great job. And people will go, well, you should have had the operation. So I'm a massive fan of Rashford. I want to see Rashford at his best. I don't think we've seen Rashford at his very best for 18 months. And I think this is because of injury. Maybe it's not about injury. You know, maybe Ricky and others are right. Maybe it's not about injury. Maybe it's about he's just not good enough. But I think he is good enough. I think it's injury. Now is the time. The World Cup's coming up in just over a year. You know, if you wait until the season and then we lose you for 3 months, the great thing about having it now is that there's 2 weeks before the season starts, 3 weeks. So, you know, he's got to have it. He's got to go and have that operation and sort himself out, Marcus Rashford. But I'll sit here right now, and it's a bit like Lingard. I don't know whether we're going to sell Lingard. I think we need to sell Lingard, and I think it's the best thing for Lingard. With Rashford, I don't know whether he's going to have the operation, but I think he needs to have the operation, and it's the best thing for Rashford. How we make these decisions, Dan James. I think the best thing for Dan James is to leave and United get some money. Will we do it? Probably not. The one thing that keeps coming back about Ollie is he too nice? Is he too nice? Is he not ruthless? And some people will say he's not too nice. Some people will say he is. I think the Rashford thing, you've got to get ruthless. You've got to say, look, Marcus, I don't want you to be out for 2 months, but I want the best possible Marcus Rashford. You're in your early 20s, and I want you to play until you're into your mid-30s. This is a drop in the ocean for the rest of your career. Go and get the recovery. And, like, will he do that? I don't know. But he needs to go and have it. What do you think in the chat then? You know, in summary of this video, we've been talking about what Varane brings to the team, how we'll play higher up the pitch, how he can run forward with the ball, how he can pass the ball, how that ball over the top now. You know, we used to play with Lindelof and Maguire very much like this, with a back six to stop the ball over the top and to be well organised. Now we're going to see a more expansive side that, you know, Vardy spins into there and Varane says, I'll be there with you in a minute. You know, I'm not worried about that. Responsibility. We only need one holding midfielder now, which pushes Pogba further forward. It keeps Bruno higher up the pitch. The higher line gets us higher up the pitch. The fullbacks will be pushing up the pitch. A more expansive, better Manchester United. If I say to you I expect a title race, am I naive or are you on board? If I say to you the expectations of this football club have gone missing for 8 years and now they're back, we should be challenging for a title every year, that team's got to challenge for a title. Am I deluded or I'm actually talking facts? What are your thoughts? We're going to win the league, says Caleb. Varane will stop us conceding the early goals. I want to see us getting more clean sheets next season, says fantastic. I'm on board, says Keevan. Ollie's not good enough for United to win the league, says Asher. Well, I suppose that's something we're going to find out next season. Challenge for the title. Facts. I'm on board. Facts, says George Kyle. Number 21's coming in, says Dian. Facts, says MNXC. We're not talking about fax machines. They're dead. It's coming home, says Faux Gaming. Don't say that. Oh, I agree 100%, says Sakara. Come on, Manchester United. Look, I don't want to over-pressurise the team and I don't want to over-pressurise Ollie, but ultimately, this is who we are. This is what we do. We're Manchester United. We go and win titles. We've just lost our way over the last 8 years, and I believe that team is good enough for us to go and challenge for a title. I'm not saying we're going to win it. You know, we could challenge all the way till May and bottle it. I'm not saying that can't happen, but challenging for a title this year is much, you know, second place. We weren't in a title race since January. We didn't challenge for a title last year at all. There's second and there's second. That was a poor second, like Mourinho's second. If we're going to finish second, I want us to be there right the way into May, late April. That's what I'm expecting. Over 80 points. I'm expecting it. Not demanding it, I'm expecting it. United will never surprise me. We could lose the opening 3 games of the season, even with that team. So, you know, let's not get stupid. Make sure you smash a like on the video, everybody, and subscribe. We're back again at 8 o'clock. Of course, if anything breaks, we'll go live. Really enjoyed that video. Not just talking about transfers, but talking about how we're going to look. How we're going to look. And if you missed the start of the video, go back and watch it. The difference that Varane is going to make to the team, the midfield, the reason we don't need toe-holding midfielders anymore, the advancement of Harry Maguire, the fullbacks. Still got to give Ollie till December, says Mario. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you all in a minute, in a little bit. I'm going to be on Twitch in about an hour playing my FIFA career mode. I've dropped the Twitch link in the video description as well. Speak to you all in a bit. Take care.